Hello everyone, I'm continuing on today with video sermon, and I'm on Proverbs series, and I'm in chapter 5. There's 23 verses. I'm not going to belabor each verse, but I'm going to read along with you, and then I'm going to comment on just a little bit, if that's okay. It says, "My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow down thine ear to my understanding, that thou mightest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For her lips is a strange woman, droppeth a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is better as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell, lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou cannot know them. Hear me now, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house. Lest thou give honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, thy labors be as in the house of a stranger, and thy mourn at last when thy flesh and body are consumed. And thou say, How have I hated instruction, and my heart despiseth reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as a loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of the man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. Excuse me, he shall die with thine instruction. In the greatness of his folly shall he go astray." So that's chapter 5, Proverbs. And, we need to be aware of people that will try to turn us from our faith and our relationship with God to other things. Those things, when it comes time of death, you can't trust in those things. They won't be there to help you. Only God can give us the help and support we need with the regular pressures of life, and then the time of death. He said, "Hear me now, O children, and depart from the words of my mouth. Depart not from the words of my mouth, and lest thou give honor unto others, and thy years to the cruel." Whether you know it or not, you're being watched. If we say that we're Christians, then we are supposed to be the mirror image of Him, and so are we doing things that He would do? Are we loving like He would? Are we forgiving like He would? I told you about that time I saw a sign that said WWJD. What would Jesus do? And that's a good way to look at it, I think. Heard a story about it said, "Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of strangers." There was a sign that said, "No trespassing." It had big red letters, and it stood out for yards in every direction. But that didn't stop boys from climbing the fence in order to reach the apples that grew on the tree on the other side. One day, a small boy slipped while he was climbing the apple tree, and he fell onto a pile of sharp branches, cutting himself badly and breaking his ankle. Alone and afraid, the young boy lay crying for hours amidst the tumble of sticks. Finally, the owner of the property happened by. He came out and lifted the boy from the branches. The child was afraid of the wrath of the farmer who had posted such ominous signs. But the old gentleman merely smiled at the boy and said, I didn't put the signs up to be mean. I put them up to try to keep things like this from happening. Our loving Father, he don't make these rules and have these commandments to be mean. He's trying to help us to get to where we're going. It says, and say, have I hated instruction, my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. If you're going to get something out of a piano, you can't just sit down there and start playing. It takes many, many hours of practice. It's the same with the Bible. You can't just get something out of it. If I hear somebody on the piano, I want them to have practiced and put their heart into it. And it's the same way with the Bible. I want a man to have considered what he's telling. And so anyway, I may not be doing that today, but I have tried to do that so that I could study to show myself approved. The real secret of happiness is not in what we have or don't happen. It's not in what happens to us or don't happen to us. Says, for the ways, this is verse 21, for the way, we're about through, for the ways are before man, before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. Heard a story, said there was an 8-year-old boy who, like many other 8-year-olds, was terrified of the dark. One summer he went to stay with his grandparents. They lived far from the city, and so nights were dark and quiet, interrupted only by sounds of animals and insects. The little boy would cower as the sun set, stand inside where it was light and safe. One night the boy's grandfather asked him to come sit on the porch with him. As the boy hesitated, his grandfather moved over to him and laying his hand on his shoulder said, I'll keep my hand on your shoulder the whole time. You don't have to go out alone. Under the watchful eye of his grandfather, the boy agreed. When they stepped into the darkness, the boy asked quietly, why aren't you afraid, Grandpa? The old man looked down, because I know that God's hand is on my shoulder, just like mine is on yours. Remember, boy, you never go anywhere that God is not right there with you. It's good to know that we're never out of the Lord's sight. He watches all our comings and our goings. There is absolutely no place we can go that God will not be also. I remember, you see kids and they play hide and go seek and or whatever, peekaboo, I guess that's it, peekaboo. And they think that because their hands are upon their eyes and they can't see you, that you can't see them. And I think that's what we do sometimes. We play peekaboo with God. We think because we can't see him at that particular time that he can't see us. And it says, his own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sin. He shall die with thine instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. And that's what's happening today. You take a spider, he builds the web. Sin is like a web. As we become occupied with the things we shouldn't be doing, we become oblivious to the dangers around us. We get our eyes off the goal, and the enemy's just watching down there. We shall be holding with its cords, and we cannot get loose. It's when we get complacent that we stand in the greatest danger of losing that which is most important. If you are too casual, you will become a casualty. I heard that Brother Henry McLean, I think he worked at a golf course, I don't know, doing something, and he was taking a break. He was up under a tree, and he saw a spider web or something. A lot of people know this better than I do, but it was something like this. And he saw the spider web, and he saw an insect fly in there. He could have got out but he stayed there too long, and the spider just came and wrapped a thread around him. And then the spider struggled a little bit more, and he came and wrapped another thread around him, and then he just came and sucked the life out of him. And that's the way this is with the tempter. So don't go near the web. I heard a story, if I can remember how it went, is this fly came by and he saw other flies, and they looked like they was having a good time. It looked like they were dancing. And about that time, a butterfly came by and said, "Don't go in there, stupid." And he said, "Oh, look, they're having a great time in there." And he said, "Look closer." And they was trapped on fly paper. That's why they was dancing around trying to get loose. So that's the way Satan is. He'll tell you people's having a good time doing that, but they are trapped. They'll be fortunate to ever get out of it. The people in the bars and the clubs and whatever else they're doing, it's a trap, and they're soon going to be too far to get back out. So I've enjoyed getting this to you today. I hope it's helped you in some measure. I love you with all my heart. I'm not making this for replace your minister or you get in the church. I'm doing this to try to supplement what you got. That if you're in the hospital, or nursing home, rehab, or sick at home and can't get out, this might help you. So may God bless you. If you need me, my phone number is 256-508-4410. And if you call me and I don't answer, leave a message because I get calls and I don't know where they're from, and I would return them if I knew it wasn't a sales call. So let me know, and may God bless you is my prayer until we do this again.